In this video, I will talk about why you shouldn't use define. Define in C++ is one of the preprocessors, and the other preprocessors you can simply see from after hash. Here are the other preprocessors, and all preprocessors starting with the hash sign, like include also. And as you can understand from the name, it just process your code before compiling. And you, for example, include, which including the libraries. And if you change, for example, I use stream libraries, just adding p, and is now not a library and giving error because it's just processing before compiling. And why you shouldn't use define. Here are three lists. I made three lists why you shouldn't use define. First of all, define doesn't check what the type is. It just copies the value or symbol which is referring to that name, that other things. And for example, if you simply define a and if you assign it to 15, and if you write it to the console, you will see 15, and this is integer, but you don't know the type of it because it's just replacing it with this a symbol. And if you make it just string, and it's now string because it's just replacing. This seems even a problem because we don't know the type, but still a big problem because you can assign it anything. For example, integer, which is a data type in C++. And normally you define an integer like this. But now this a is also referring to int anymore. And if you can also define any integer value to this one. And now if you write int value to console, you will see it's writing. And if you're coming to above it, and you will see it's integer. And also, for example, even more weirdly, if you assign it a bracelet curly, and if you just change it with this a, and even like this, it will be compiling like no problem. But this is a really weird way, and the not a thing which a normal programmers don't want. This is the one of the problem using define. The other one, second one, define values can be changed, but the other like constant enums cannot. Let's make it 15 again, and let's try to understand what I mean. Define normally seems cannot be changed. Many programmers think it cannot, but there is a way, like the opposite macro of define, which is undefined. And if you make undefined a, and then if you define again in that scope in the program after that, let's say not 15 but 30, in both, let's read before changing and let's read after changing, and you will see it's changed. So there is a way to change define in our program, but you cannot change a constant, you cannot change enumerators in your C++ program. This is also second problem of using define. So because there is a way to change your define value. Third one, define functions have some big problems. What I mean by saying big problems? Let's define a function which taking a and b, and after a ternary operation a bigger than b, if like that a else b, which is returning the maximum. Let's call this call maximum, and let's make this parentheses also, and let's try call max 7 and 4 for example, and you will see 7 is working properly now. Let's make it little differently. A is equal to 5, B is equal to 4. Now I'm calling A and B. You will see A 5, yeah, still no problem. But when you're calling this like this, which is expected one, the result is this will be 6, this will be 4, 6, 4, the result should be 6. This is the what expectation is. But as you see, the result is 7, which is not an expected result, but define causing this result now. If you make a simple different function, let's make template and class t and inline function, which can be replaced with a define function and more proper way. And let's call it call max properly and taking x and taking y and returning the result of this ternary operation. These are not x, these are not y. Yeah, let's call max properly now and see the problem in here. Double x, what's the problem in here? Let's take, sorry, of course not working. Yeah, as you see now, the problem is it's 6, so which is the expected result. But if you're calling define function, it's not the expected result. This is one of the biggest problem by using define function. That's why in many tutorial, in many things, they are saying please avoid using define. Instead of define function, this is the more proper way. Inline functions, the most suggested functions to use instead of define functions. On the other hand, instead of define any value of integer, double or others, you should choose constants, enumerators, but enumerators only can you define integers, but the constant seems more better way to use instead of defines. Yes, in this video I just wanted to tell about this issue about defines. Let's see in the other videos.